The Forgotten History of Slavery in the United Kingdom,
from 1562
to 1833.
Let us start with 1555. A group of Africans from present-day Ghana are brought to England by John Locke, a London merchant, to learn English so that they can act as interpreters in their homelands.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
So the book of Deuteronomy explains that the Lord will bring a nation against us from far, as swift as the eagle flieth, and that nation's tongue we will not understand. Hence why John Locke brought a group of African slaves from the continent of Africa to learn English to act as interpreters in their homeland.
1562. John Hawkins becomes the first Englishman definitely known to have traded in Africans, making 3 voyages to Sierra Leone and transporting a total of 1,200 inhabitants to Hispaniola and Saint Dominique, modern-day Dominican Republic and Haiti. He sells them to the Spanish in exchange for pearl hides, sugar and ginger.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
The early African companies developed English trade and trade routes in the 16th and 17th centuries. But it was not until the opening up of Africa and the slave trade to all English merchants in 1698 that Britain began to become dominant. The slave trade was carried out from many British ports, but the 3 most important ports were London, 1660s to 1720s, Bristol, 1720s to 1740s, and Liverpool, 1740s to 1807, which became extremely wealthy. Under the 1799 Slave Trade Act, the slave trade was restricted to these 3 ports. The developing slave trade-based industries made Britain rich and prosperous. In the 17th century, sugarcane was brought to British West Indies from Brazil. At that time, most local farmers were growing cotton and tobacco. However, strong competition from the North American colonies meant that prices in these crops were falling. The owners of the large Caribbean plantations decided to switch to growing sugarcane. The sugarcane plant was the main crop produced on the numerous plantations throughout the Caribbean during the 18th and 19th centuries. These plantations produced 80 to 90% of the sugar consumed in Western Europe. Almost every island was covered with sugar plantations and mills for refining the cane for its sweet properties. Until the abolition of slavery, the main source of labor was African slaves.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Verse 33. Fruit of thy land, and all thy labours, shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt only oppressed and crushed always.
So the Bible's letting us know those that are oppressed, those that were planting the vineyards, those that were growing the sugarcane and didn't benefit from the labor that they put in, that's the Israelites.